Upon arriving at a party, you're going to be receiving a checklist assigned to you by your captain. That will tell you that you are designing the dessert and coffee station. That means you've been designated as a display person. Upon doing displays, you're going to not only need your checklist, but a copy of the menu. You'll see on the menu, it's been written exactly what plate, fork, and serving piece has been designated per food item. Using the checklist in combination with the menu will help you to build your display. So obviously the first thing you're going to need to do is dress your table with the linen. You'll either be receiving a piece of linen for the top of the table and a skirt and clips, or you'll be receiving a piece of linen that goes all the way around the table and to the floor. You'll know the difference by using your checklist. In this case, we're going to be skirting a table using the 3 required pieces: the skirt, the clips, and your linen topper. When putting the skirt clips on the table, you're going to get 2 different sizes in your bag of skirt clips. That one size being for a wooden top table, such as this one. The other one is for a plastic top table. Plastic top tables are thicker this way. Wooden size skirt clips are small and long. The skirt clips for a plastic table are shaped like C's. When putting it on the table, take the flat top part, Velcro facing out, and just push it around the edge of the table. It will stay in that spot, good and snug. You could probably get it to slide, but it's going to be hard to get it to slide. That's how you know it's on there correctly. You want to evenly space your clips around the sides of the table. Then you're going to take your skirt. The Velcro strip is going to be on the top, which is what's going to stick to your clip. I'm going to find the center of your skirt and that will go in the center of your table. When putting your skirts on the table, you want to make sure that they go all the way around and even on both ends of the table. I usually save my last 2 clips so I can take it right up to the edge of the skirt so it's nice and flat along the whole side. The next thing you're going to do is review your menu and make sure that what you have on the floor is exactly what you need to build this station. We're building a coffee and dessert station, and we want to determine the flow of our guests and what they're going to need first in order to have a cup of coffee. They're going to first need their cup and saucer, then they're going to need to go to the samovar to dispense their coffee, then be able to put their condiments using a spoon in their coffee cup. So we need to look around on the floor. When building a display, you're going to get certain elements when doing so. You're going to get an element of height, some sort of fabric piece, the required serving pieces, and greens in order to build your display. When starting off, you want to start with your biggest pieces. In this case, it's our element of height. You want to get that on the table and figure out what it is that your intended use for that piece is. For this one, I'm going to display all of my condiments for my coffee on it. So I'm determining my guests are coming from this side of the table, so I'm going to build my cups over here, into my samovars, into my condiments. Samovars come in a wooden box, and they flip open in the top. You should have 3 for any coffee station. You should also have a sterno that will keep the coffee hot on the station. And the sterno should never go out as the raw sterno. You want to be able to put it in something to hide the sterno. We're also going to take the flower pots that we have here and use those as our elements of height as well. You'll receive items such as flower pots, glass blocks, martini glasses, candle holders, square clear glass vases. Any of those types of things can be used in building up height on your display. Keeping the lid up like this means that there's coffee in the pot and it's ready to go. When it's not on and it's inside its container, it's an indicator that there's no liquid in the piece yet. Adding variations of height to your display is what gives it that interesting factor. When you're doing a block of cups and saucers on the table, to maximize the space, instead of having them in a square pattern forming 4 right angles, you want to inlay them within each other, putting another saucer here, putting another saucer here. It just helps to get more on the table. Coffee cups, you want to put them upside down on your first part of the display. And to make it pleasing to the eye, you want to make sure that all of your handles are going in the same direction. Having handles that are all over the place just isn't very nice. It also helps the client to understand when they're picking it up where they're going to be, because it's all the same across the table. The reason your coffee cups are upside down is so then that way little things don't fly in them when they go to put liquid in their cup and see something floating in there. Just as you're building varying heights within your larger pieces of your display, when putting china on a display, you also want that to include varying heights. As I mentioned before, another element that you'll get within the display are your linens. Display linens, as they're referred to on your checklist. They are picked for you by the person determining the general checklists and usually will coordinate with the display. These linens are used to help add additional color and texture to the overall display. You want to use them as a weaving tool, just a way to make things more interesting. When building your displays and using display linen, you don't ever want to cover your element of height completely. You want to let the client understand that you're using it as a draping tool and not hiding something underneath. Bring your linens in and around the major pieces on the table. Being sure to hide any raw edges that might be sticking out. The final piece to a standard coffee display will then be adding your condiments. You're going to need a bowl for your sugars, a bowl for tea bags, and something to put the cream in. When adding your silver to the display, there's a few different options that you could consider. Taking one of your floral pots and placing them spoon side down into the pot so the handle is out, so the client is picking up the handle and not the tip of the spoon, is one acceptable way. Another great way, however, to place out your spoons and fill in the space nicely is to arrange them in patterns such as one like this, where it's going to continue with the arc of your height element. Or you could do something in the way of a fan. Again, mirroring the arc of your height, your element of height. The final piece are the minimal little touches, but mean a lot, such as candles, votives, like these, perhaps a taller style was designated on your checklists. And last but not least, the greenery. And there is your standard coffee, decaf, and hot tea display. Sometimes in addition to the standard coffee station, clients will also provide for their guests a selection of cordials to go along with the coffee. In this case, the alcohol will be provided by the client and can include items such as Kahlua, Bailey's, Grand Marnier, all types of sweet wines, port wines, that sort of thing. Those are intended to be put at the coffee station. If that's the case, the coffee station is most definitely manned by a staff person, even though it should be in most cases anyway. Being manned by a staff person means that the spouts of the samovars are going to face the back of the display, as a staff person will stand behind the display to dispense the coffee for the clients, and also dispense any possible cordials that they may have provided. Cordials can be built into your display and must then be considered part of your flow. What we decided to do was keep the cordials with the condiments at the far side, but it would also require the addition of cordial glasses. Cordial glasses are added in the same way that the coffee cups are. They're upside down to start. And can be put into the display at any creative type of pattern. This way, it allows the guests to choose between whether they want to put the cordials in their coffee or if they would prefer it in a glass by themselves. Also, in addition to a standard coffee station, a client can do an upgrade to what's called an international coffee bar. An international coffee bar, aside from the standard selection of coffee, decaf, and assorted decaf and regular teas, it will also include cinnamon sticks, flavored syrups, whipped cream, assorted cubed sugar, and chocolate shavings. If the client has asked us to do an international coffee bar for them,